Hello influencers, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about multiple ways you can go about studying and prepping for your exam. Now, if you would like to know what they are, stay tuned. So before we get started, I wanted to do my recognition shout out to our RHIA mock exam prep member. Now this person is Makira. She is one of our members that has been faithfully studying for her exam. It took her a third trial and she really got it done. As you can see, she states, "Hello. So after my third try, I have successfully passed my RHIA. I used the AHIMA RHIA prep book and the HIM Bible for study material." Now that Bible she's referring to is one that I did a video on, so please take a look at that. We are so excited. Congratulations, Makira. So our next exam passer in our member group is Tony. Tony recently passed her exam. She did study with the RHIA prep book, but as you notice, she also used the PRG. Now I'm going to be doing a video review on this book, so be on the lookout for that. And if you notice in her comment, she stated that she was super stressed because she didn't get a high average when she was studying. She only had a 73%. And then the funny thing is her highest score was in leadership and her lowest was in revenue. And then when she took her exam, this reversed. So you just want to make sure that you're really, truly prepped for that exam. Congratulations, Tony. We are so proud of you. So without further ado, as we get into this, just make sure you have a notepad and some type of pen or pencil and take some notes. A lot of people are studying for these exams, and I'm always asked questions about how do they go about studying. So depending on which program you're in, if you're in the 2-year program or if you're in a 4-year program, you do have some certifications, exam or board exam, if you want to classify that. In order to get certified, you have to take those certifications. For the 2-year program, you need to take the RHIT. That is the Registered Health Information Technician certification. And you can also take some coding certifications such as the CCS and the CCA, which is all in reference to coding. Now, if you're in a bachelor's level program or a master's program, then you can also sit for the RHIA, and that's the Registered Health Administrative level of your credentials. If you're unsure of that, you can go to AHIMA's website and get more on those certification. I do plan to post more videos on that. Let me know down below if you want me to give you more detail on each of those certifications. A lot of us try to study up for these courses, and at the end of your final semester or that final class, or even after you have done the program, you need to take those certifications. Studying for the exam, there are lots of things that I wasn't told. It's important to know the different ways and the different methods you can go about studying it. I don't know if you are aware of the different books that you can use, but there's one book in particular that I would recommend you getting when you're studying for your exam. I brought it up on my last video, so go watch that. It is the Latour book. This is the Health Information Management Concept, Principles, and Practice. Now, I also have the other type of exam prep book. You can either use the JB Review Guide, or you can also use the Registered Health Information Administration Prep Exam, the RHIT or the RHIA book. All of that you can find on the AHIMA website. Let me know if you would like for me to share with you what the book is and what it entails, and we can also have a conversation on it further down in the comment section. Let me know if you've picked up any of these books. This is the RHIA book and the JB Review book. Now, when I studied and I started pressing to really get my study on for my initial 2-year program, I ended up having to do multiple methods of studying. And what I did was I didn't do loner studying, which is when you study by yourself. I did try to study in a group. So you might want to consider studying in a group. Grab a few friends or other people that you know are in your class, message them, find out if they want to study, and you can just do a group session. Now that we are all on some sort of lockdown, you can still do a Zoom meeting to meet and study up for the RHIA exam. So as for the JB review and the RHIA book, you should try your best to stick with the latest, maybe 2 editions of the study guide, even though some of those questions are repetitive. But I would suggest if you're studying up, try to get something as close as you can to that year that you're going to sit for the exam. In case there are any updates in the study guide, you are well versed and you're up to date with the newest material. This book is excellent. I keep it. I do call this the Bible of HIM. And that's because it holds a lot of valuable content that will help you get all the knowledge you need to cover any type of topics that are in those study guide. So I'm going to put this aside. So for the study guide, what I would do is I would go through each of the questions in the book. It does come with several things like an online resource that you can go in and test yourself as you go through the chapters. It has 5 domains. The first domain is data content structure standards. The second domain is information protection. And the third one is informatics. You have revenue management, you have leadership, and so forth and so on. So these domains are usually what you want to study and know for your exam for the RHIA. The RHIT also have its domain, and I think those are also categorized in the different areas or the different aspects of the HIT program. And what I would do is I would take the book and I will study up for each chapter or each domain. And as I study one question, so if it's focused on, let's say, data content structure standards for domain 1, I would go through those 20 questions, 30 questions. And as I go through each of the question, I would read the content of that question, try to figure out what the answer is, and then I would go through any one that I have gotten wrong. I would study it up in my book. So this book is extremely helpful. And a prime example is if we went through the questions in the book and the content of the question referred to things as in data competency, data consistency, data accessibility. I would go through each of those, and for any one that I did not understand, I would look for that content in this book. I would find anything related to data consistency and read up on it, make sure I understood it, and that would be how I study. And then afterwards, I would go back through all those questions and take the assessment online. They have the online assessment, and it's a multiple choice option. So you want to make sure that you're taking that assessment. You want to make sure that you're reading your textbook, which comes in very handy. They do have the online version for this textbook as well, and there should be some sort of access on there. So just make sure that when you're using your study guide, you're using them the correct way. You do not want to memorize things in reference to your exam from the study guide and just focus on those questions. You want to really understand the who, what, when, where, why of that content. So if you're studying about Joint Commission, you want to understand, who they are, when they are used, what they do, how, and that gives you a better understanding of that particular subject. When you memorize these questions, they're not going to be the same as what you see here on the exam. So you're kind of fooling yourself. So just make sure that you study up on it, read the questions, understand each of the answers. And then another thing that I do is to go in and study the incorrect answers. So if you did a multiple choice question, for instance, and you had the 4 options And out of the 4 options, obviously 1 is the correct answer. The rest of the 3 options, I would go back in and make sure that I knew what each of those wordings are. And that helped me practice and understood what those wrong answers were. So you want to focus on your correct answers, but you also need to understand what the wrong answers are, because when you go in and you focus in on the correct answer, you're not going to get the same questions for your exam. So if I need to know what statistic is, data management, data warehouse, and data dictionary, and the answer is data dictionary, I still need to understand what statistic is. Understand the ins and out of the study guide book. That will help you do better on your exam. Take those online assessment every time you go through each of the domains. Make sure that you're using Quizlet. I'm not sure if you know about that. I'll put a link for that below. You can create an account and use Quizlet. Quizlet is great because you can find all these contents that you need to know for any of the exam, including the coding exam. So what you want to do is make sure that as you move forward with studying, you follow all these different measures and you make sure that you're well prepared for your exam. If you have built a study group, a study plan, I do have the Facebook group. Let me know down below if you would want to join our group. Have you built a group? How did that work out for you? Some people have told me that the group thing doesn't really work, but I have found it to be very beneficial. Let me know if you have used any of these study guide. Which ones are you using? Do you find them to be valuable, useful? Are the questions helpful? Are they confusing? I think everyone would appreciate those feedback. I hope you found this video to be helpful. I hope you found it to be valuable. Thank you for supporting me on this channel. Please do subscribe if you like what you're seeing. I would really appreciate your subscription. Give me a thumbs up and I will see you on the next video.